Have you ever looked around a home you were paying for and felt, with absolute certainty, that someone had been inside it while you were gone? I am a single mother. I have a 7-year-old daughter called Freya, and a flat on the 3rd floor of a converted house in Sheffield that I moved into in January 2023 because the rent was reasonable. The school was a 7-minute walk away, and the landlord seemed, at the viewing, like a normal human being. That last point turned out to be the one that required the most revision. His name is Derek. Derek is in his 60s, recently retired, and the proud owner of 3 rental properties that he manages himself with the particular hands-on enthusiasm of a man who has discovered that owning things is more interesting than owning them from a distance. He told me at the viewing that he liked to be involved with his properties. I interpreted this as responsible landlord behaviour. I now understand it as a warning I did not recognise. The first visit was in March, 2 months after I moved in. He knocked on a Saturday morning, which was fine, said he was checking the boiler ahead of the warmer months, which was fine, and stayed for 40 minutes showing me how the thermostat worked, which was significantly less fine, but technically within the category of things a landlord is allowed to do. He was charming, he brought biscuits, Freya liked him. The second visit was the following Wednesday. He said there was a loose tile in the communal hallway and he wanted to check whether it was affecting the 3rd floor in any way. I was working from home. He stayed for 25 minutes. He drank tea. The third visit was on a Friday. He wanted to look at the window seal in the bathroom. He gave me 2 hours' notice by text, which I know now is not the 24 hours required by law and by the terms of my tenancy agreement, but which I did not know then because I had not yet read my tenancy agreement with anything approaching the attention it deserved. Let me stop here, because we are roughly 2 minutes in and I need to acknowledge something, which is that individually, none of these visits sounds alarming. Collectively, they are building towards something, but from inside it I could not see the shape yet. I could only feel a low-level discomfort that I kept telling myself was irrational. I would come home and the flat would feel slightly different in a way I could not name. Like a smell that is not quite right, but not quite wrong either. Just off. Just slightly, persistently off. By May, I had lost count of how many times he had been in. I started a note on my phone in June, logging each visit with the date, the stated reason, and the amount of notice I had received. By the time I went to a solicitor in late July, that note was 11 entries long, all within a 6-week window, all within an hour of me leaving for work or school drop-off. I want to stop and let that land. 11 visits in 6 weeks. Every single one time to begin within 60 minutes of my departure. Not during the evenings, not on weekends when I was home. Always in that specific window when the flat was empty, and I was not there to observe what he was doing in it. My solicitor was a woman called Priya, direct, unhurried, and possessed of a very efficient contempt for landlords who confused ownership with access. She looked at my 11-entry log, looked at the timestamps and said, "Do you have a smart meter?" I did. The smart meter had recorded energy usage spikes corresponding to 9 of the 11 visits, brief surges consistent with lights being switched on, and appliances being briefly engaged, all occurring on the days my log recorded Derek's presence. 9 data points, logged by a device that had no idea it was keeping evidence. 9 energy spikes. 1 for almost every visit. This is the midpoint. This is where it doubles. Because in August, Derek entered the flat without any notice at all. I was home. Freya was home. He had a key. All landlords have a key, which is a fact that becomes considerably more uncomfortable once you understand. It is not an invitation. He knocked once, I answered. He walked past me into the kitchen and said he needed to check the stopcock location for his records. He was in my kitchen for 8 minutes. Freya was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework. She looked up at him and then looked at me, and her expression was one I had not seen on her face before, which was a very specific kind of 7-year-old wariness that no 7-year-old should have to feel in her own home. I called Priya the same afternoon. She sent a formal letter the following morning citing the Protection from Eviction Act 1977, specifying the 24-hour notice requirement and stating that any further entry without lawful notice would be treated as a criminal matter. Derek responded that he owned the property and had a right to ensure it was being maintained. Priya filed the claim in the county court in September. Breach of the covenant of quiet enjoyment, which is the legal principle that says a tenant is entitled to use their home without interference from the landlord, harassment under the Protection from Eviction Act, and a claim for damages including the quantifiable stress impact on my ability to work from the flat during the period of the visits. The trial was listed for November. 4 days before the hearing, Priya received the access log from the smart meter company. The full 12-month record, not just the dates I had flagged, but every single day in precise 15-minute intervals, showing energy usage throughout the tenancy. She reviewed it overnight. She called me the following morning and said, "I need you to sit down." The access log showed 43 energy spikes. Not 11. 43. On days I had not logged. On days I had not noticed. The full picture of what Derek had been doing in my flat, stretching back not 6 weeks but 6 months, all concentrated in the same window of time, all occurring when the flat was empty and I was elsewhere. I had logged 11 because 11 was all I had caught. The real number was 43. Derek's barrister, when presented with the log at the hearing, asked for an adjournment to take instructions. The judge declined. She said the evidence was clear and that further delay was not in the interest of justice. She found in my favour on all grounds, awarded full damages, and made an order requiring Derek to surrender his key and give a minimum of 48 hours notice for any future access. Derek has appealed on a procedural ground relating to the admissibility of the smart meter data. The appeal is pending. Priya thinks it will fail. I think so too. I am still in the flat. The key has been surrendered. Freya does her homework at the kitchen table without looking up at the door. The wholesome part of this story is that last month after the judgment, Freya asked me why we had kept living there after Derek had been so strange. I said because it was our home and we had not done anything wrong and we were not going to leave just because someone else was behaving badly. She thought about it for a moment and then nodded in the way she does when something has been filed and processed, and she is moving on. 7 years old, filing and processing. I could not be more proud of her if I tried. What would you have done after the August visit when he walked past you and stood in your kitchen? Would you have left, or would you have stayed and fought? I stayed. I do not regret it. But I understand why someone would leave, and I want them to know that leaving does not mean you lost.